Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm Danny. It's nice to meet you.
I'm Wesley. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Welcome to Tower Records Live. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here too. Thank you for having me.
Good. Cool. Well, we'll jump right in, I guess. Congratulations. You have your new single that is out and alive in the world. It's called Watch It Fall. Came out end of July.
Yes.
I found this
Thank you.
song to be really different from your previous material. Can you tell us a bit about it and the inspiration and everything behind this song?
Yeah, the song originally was written in 2016, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just one of those like kind of cliche things that like I think every artist has where you just kind of shelf it and it had gotten shelved and prior to 2019, I think is when we were kind of working on all these songs, end of 2018. Our producer John DeBon just kind of we had worked with him on every release that we've ever done, so he had kind of heard the song and knew that it had existed, and it was actually his idea to bring it back because we just kind of needed more songs, and he just said, "What about that one?" So after taking it off the shelf 3 years later, it kind of got a new makeover. Originally, when I wrote it, I really wanted it to sound um, like a Michael Jackson song.
Okay.
Like I was super obsessed at the time with the record "Off the Wall," and I don't know, I just really loved all that. And then when I told him that's what I wanted to do, he was like, "Let's not do that because that has kind of already been done so much." So it was kind of his kind of guidance to take it in the way that we kind of have heard it now. So.
Interesting. And that didn't age very well, sadly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
such an interesting inspiration behind the song. I don't think I would have known that, which maybe that's good to your point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was also kind of he was the one that kind of said like, well, you guys don't really play like that, and you're not really that's not embedded in your brain to kind of play in that kind of manner, anyways. So when he just was just kind of like, just make it a dance song, but we're gonna make it like an indie dance song. So once he did that, it became all the pieces just kind of fell into play. I think that's why we really struggled with it because we were trying to write something that we weren't comfortable writing.
Uh huh. Well, it definitely paid off. I mean, K Rock picked up the song and really
Yeah.
supported it. Um, so that goes a long way. It definitely fits that K Rock profile.
Yeah.
And that's so funny that it's actually an older song because I think it's extremely fitting. Maybe this is just my dark, cynical read on it, given the current circumstance. But to me, listening to it, it's like all that's left to do in this moment is literally sit back and watch everything fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, what
totally.
was going on in your life 3 years ago versus now that actually inspired the initial writing behind the song?
I never really had lyrics for it. That was another reason why it just kind of just sat there for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. I could never really write anything that I actually liked. But I always had the sit around and watch it fall hook in the chorus. That was always like a thing. But yeah, I never could really knew what I wanted to say in it. And then once I kind of actually had to write lyrics for it, when I knew like, okay, this is going to be a song. Um, the thing that I think changed the most was me being comfortable talking about things that I struggle with. And so like lyrically when I say watch it fall, it's not really like watching like every like the whole world kind of fall apart. It was more just kind of like watching myself fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Um so yeah, lyrically it just kind of comes from there's been times in my life where I've maybe pretended to be something that I'm not in order to kind of like fit in or think that I'm cool or
Yeah.
uh, this is just like struggling with like image issues. So just kind of like picking things that I really liked from artists or like skateboarders or influencers, and then kind of getting so lost into that and realizing like I don't even know where I begin and they end kind of thing. So
Right.
the whole watch it fall thing is about just watching myself like kind of implode from kind of lying and pretending to be something that I'm really not.
I think that's
Which
something
is
that
weird.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, which in a weird way though, when I take all that away, like I am comfortable, but sometimes I just you really want to impress someone just to like think you want them to think you're cool. So
Yeah, of course. And I think that a lot of artists must go through this, finding your persona on stage, off stage, in front of the camera, off camera, all that. And
yeah,
social media obviously adds a huge weight on top of that of what being cool even means.
yeah, totally.
Which is it's just so wild because so many of the artists that I'm sure we both idolize, and Michael Jackson is like a crazy example, but just so did their own thing, and it feels like beyond making music that such a wide audience is able to connect with, just being
Yeah,
yourself so publicly is such an accomplishment in itself, and I think people really latch onto that.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely something in the last like 2, 3 years that I've really kind of had to like learn to kind of deal with. Especially like you said, like going on and playing shows. Like I'm not the same as I am when I'm playing a show. So at times, like people think maybe like, oh wow, he's really like crazy or outrageous or like is gonna do something like kind of wild. But I'm really tamed and quite like I'm very laid back and I mean I'll kind of get rowdy and I'll have fun with people, but like I'm not the one at the party to ever start the fun.
Yeah, the hair in the Spice Girls shirt doesn't really say that.
I try.
So what's going on with the Spice Girls? I know your band is a fan. You're kind of alt rock with some spice. What is your interest in the Spice Girls?
Um, when I was a kid, then they were just like the biggest thing. There was marketed everywhere, so um, I really just latched onto them. I have no reason why I really even started liking them when I was a kid, but yeah, I just loved them, and it was like cool when you were a kid, to because they had like the rock pops, pop rocks with like the suckers in it, and
Uh-huh.
like yeah, they had like the movie, they had all the stuff. So, but at a certain point, it kind of became not cool to talk about. So I never really told anybody that I still liked the Spice Girls. Um, and then it just kind of became cool again. And then it was just when I realized like music like that, like the Spice Girls or NSYNC, Destiny's Child, like Mandy Moore, everything that was kind of on TRL and
Yeah.
like the late 90s, 2000s, like that was what I really grew up on. So I kind of figured like I love that kind of stuff and I love like big guitar music, so why not just try to morph the two together? And when I came to that realization that that's what I wanted to do with the band, it became a lot easier to write music. Because again, I wasn't really afraid of like, oh, I have to be a stoner rock band. I can't be too poppy because
Right.
I don't want people to think that I'm not cool. So, once I got over trying to be cool, or write music that I thought would make people think that like, hey, this is cool. That's when everything kind of fell into place. So that's why the Spice Girls are so prominent to kind of our sound. And the guitar player Tamra, she really loves them too, and that was one thing that her and I bonded over when we first met was our love for like the Spice Girls and High School Musical.
Hell yeah. That's
So
a perfect segue. I would love to hear about your band members and how you all got together. I think you all blend a really interesting genre, but you're able to hit a lot of different styles of
yeah,
music. So there must be something working.
um, it really. So yeah, I met Tamra, the guitar player, when she was playing in her other band called Curtsy in Lompoc, which is where I'm from, and the same guy that produced us produced her band. So they came and played a show in Lompoc,
Where's that?
and Lompoc is about 2.5 hours away from LA.
Okay.
It's yeah, you're going north, but you have to get off the 101 to get to us.
Okay.
So it feels a bit like weird when you're here because it feels like it's inland, but it's actually like 10 minutes away from the beach.
Huh.
It's a pretty bizarre little area.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
yeah, her band came and played here, and that's how we met. Was I was playing with the Zac Efron pick that night, um, And so the first song, I dropped the pick, and I was like, oh shit, okay. But I saw it because it's like a holographic pick.
Oh my God.
And I kept being like, okay, that's your pick's right there. When you're done, go pick it up. At the time, it was the only one I had, like the only Zac Efron pick I had. And so like people come up to me after the show, I'm talking to them, and she comes up and talks to me, and then we kind of say, hey, good show, kind of talk for a little bit, and then I see her walk away, and I see her grab the pick, and I was talking to someone, but in my head I was like, like that's my pick. So I walked over and I was like, hey, you grab my pick, and she was like, no, I was playing with the Zac Efron pick tonight. This is my pick. To which I said, no, that again, that is my pick. Like I know that's my pick, and oddly enough, she was also playing with the Zac Efron pick that night.
That is hilarious. Kindred spirits.
Yeah, the exact same pick. So then we kind of realized that we have a similar love for all things the same, like music and shows, and kind of like again, like loving like the Spice Girls and High School Musical and like Degrassi and all that kind of stuff, like Boy Meets World. So we really bonded over stuff like that. That was maybe like 4 years ago, and then yeah, the original lineup kind of fell apart, and then Kurtzy broke up, and she just kind of called and asked one day, like, hey, would it be okay if I joined The Only Ocean? Because I know that, it's just you now. And I immediately was like, oh, yeah, sure, like, that's fine. And then Jonathan was the drummer in Kurtzy, so she brought along Jonathan. And I had met Jonathan before, and we talked a little bit, but never, like, too much. Not like kind of, now we know each other. And then Jonathan brought along Jordan because Jordan played in one of Jonathan's old bands from a few years ago. So it all just kind of like everyone brought something to the table.
Yeah.
And our first practice, it was just almost immediate where I was like, wow, this is really, really sounds a lot better than I had ever imagined it to sound like. And since then, yeah, it's been great. It's been just great playing with them and kind of getting to see what they bring to the table, and everything I just said, they can kind of bring, but in a completely different way. Like their musicianship is kind of keeps me on my toes, and I have to actually practice more and hone my craft a little bit because I don't want to show up to practice playing like piss poor or anything like that if they're bringing their game. Same with like shows and songwriting. So it's been really like inspiring to kind of be around them as musicians and just as people, just hanging out with them. It's been
That's so
quite
nice.
lovely.
So what year did you guys solidify that group?
September of last year or August of last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we haven't really been playing all that. We played our first show in November of 2019 together. And then the K-Rock picked up one of our songs, Still You Won't, November of 2019, and then since then it's just kind of been just all in the up. Obviously, with COVID, that was a bit of a bummer because we were quite looking forward to like, really doing it up this year. But if anything, it's given us, nothing but time to kind of write a bunch of songs. So that's been nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like the music video for Watch It Fall, because it's on this stage, we can watch you guys playing. It feels like kind of an introduction to get to know each member of the band. Like it gives you a sense of what things might look like live, which at this point is kind of all we can hang on to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
When did you guys film that?
We filmed that, I think it's like the end of February.
Okay. So before everything hit.
Yeah, right before everything just kind of hit. With a gentleman named Josh Drew, and it was just like a one day shoot. It was really easy to we just kind of went in, and it was kind of his idea to do all that, and we had kind of trusted him. We had seen other videos that he'd done with some other artists from LA, so we just kind of gave him full control, and that's what awesome. We got.
Yeah, at the very least, it worked out that there's something physical for people to latch onto and get to know the band in a deeper way. It's a really cool music video. Congrats.
Thank you.
On getting that out. So you said you guys have been writing more songs during lockdown. How do you do that?
Google Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so It was actually Jonathan's idea to start writing. I think it was literally like maybe a couple days when we actually were in like lockdown. We were all just like kind of FaceTiming. And he was just like, "Oh, like let's just write. I'll set up a Google Drive and then we can just like share songs." So it happens a lot of different ways where I'll send a guitar idea or just chords, excuse me, and then I'll put that in. Someone will pick it up and say, "Hey, that's cool." They'll add their part to it, and we've been doing that since, like I said, March, and we have 20 songs, like new songs now that we've
That's
all, and
amazing.
yeah, everyone's just kind of bringing a lot to the table. Where, like I said, sometimes Tamra she'll write a guitar part, and then she'll only have like a verse, and then I'll just kind of go and finish the rest of it, or Jordan will kind of finish, the bass player will kind of finish something, or Jonathan will just record his drums to what's going on, and yeah, so it's been real like it's kind of a trip that we actually have that many songs because it doesn't feel like we did that much because it was in a quarantine felt like forever, so it feels like 20 songs were written in like a 2 year period, but it was really only was it like 5 months.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really collaborative and fell into a really positive stride.
Yeah, totally.
So your discography is kind of starting to make more sense to me, I guess. So the band was a different setup back in 2016 when your first album came out.
Yes.
Okay, very cool. Because you have like a lot of material out, and it really is very different from this new, like 2019 on. Definitely has a change. But there
Yeah.
was one song in particular from 2018, Replaceable,
Yeah.
that you have that like really spoke to me. I found it to be really powerful. The live video of you playing it with just you and the guitar, I thought was really beautiful, and I hope that we do get some of that from the new rendition.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would love to do something like that for Watch It Fall. I was actually I hadn't told any of the band, but I was like thinking of like, oh, that'd be cool to like do something like that again with all these new songs that we're going to be releasing soon.
Yeah. Okay. So there will be an album. There's something big coming.
Yeah, we have. I don't know when our next single is going to be, but yeah, we have. There's like 9 more songs that are just kind of waiting to be released.
Awesome.
Yeah. So on top of the 20 that we're working on now, we have like 9 full songs just kind of ready to go. So there's a lot of music and a lot of things to kind of look forward to. And excuse me, I think once when we do like release all, whether the sorry, whether it be like singles or an album,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure once all that's released, we'll have new music ready to go. So there's
That's
always like
amazing.
something to kind of kind of be there, which is really good. And I like it because I don't. It's kind of how I've always worked, and I've been really lucky enough with John DeBon to build a friendship with him to where I can just go down and talk to him and work on songs, and that's kind of us hanging out as just working on songs, whether they become only songs or they just like kind of ideas that we have, and it's always like always recording, always writing. So I'm very grateful to find someone to kind of allow me to do that because I think I'd go crazy if I didn't have that outlet.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's super rare. What have you learned about your fans during this period, having released your single in July? And has this taught you anything moving forward for who your fan base is and how to interact with them?
It's taught me that there was more than I expected.
Cool.
Um, yeah, I think just going back to, excuse me, just going back to like everything that I've like image issues and struggling with like that. I'm always just convinced like, oh, people fucking hate us. Like, I'm always had that kind of in the back of my head, like, but I still like do it because I love doing it. Um, and I think it just taught me like there was more people interested in what we were doing than I had really ever expected. When the song was released, like so many people were posting about it and listening to it. And I think now when I checked a couple days ago, the music video is at like 10,000 views on YouTube, which I was very surprised by. Like all the streaming and people just kind of talking about. I was really surprised that people were so receptive to it. So I'm excited to move forward because now it's kind of like a little bit of been like validated a bit to kind of think like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
people actually do care. what we're kind of trying to do and trying to say.
That's a huge vote of confidence, and I hope you now feel that it's well deserved. It doesn't go without a lot of hard work, and not just on your music, but on yourself too.
Yeah, thank you.
So why did you name the band The Only Ocean?
um, I only laugh because Tamara, it's not her favorite band in the world, and she just so happens now to be in a band that's named after one of her not her favorite bands. But when I was in high school is when the band started, and I was a massive Arctic Monkeys fan, still am. But
Same.
they have a song called "Potion Approaching" off Humbug.
Okay.
He says the word the only. He says yours is the only ocean, and
Wow, I
so
don't know if I know that song.
yeah, we somehow I booked a show like when the band first started, like without a name.
Oh no. You're breaking up a little. Give it a second here. Uh-oh. I think I have to re-add you. Hang tight, everybody. Are you back? Oh,
Am I there?
oh, you're coming in. You're a little pixelated. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I have you really pixelated.
Oh no.
Let me try to re-add you. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Okay. Let's try this again. Dun, 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 dun. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. I'm sure Wesley will be back in a moment. Just trying to connect. Haha.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
no worries. It's the beauty of live stream. Like something goes wrong and throws me off guard every time we do this. So it's not you.
My Wi-Fi is I teach lessons, guitar lessons online, and sometimes my Wi-Fi is really all over the place. So like mid lesson, and like it's easier on my phone because I can just turn off my data. But like if I'm on my laptop, the kids are like, "You're lagging. I have no idea what you're saying to me."
Yeah,
So
it's so frustrating.
yeah.
But anyway,
Um,
Arctic Monkeys.
yeah, Arctic Monkeys. Yeah, I didn't have a name for the band, and he was gracious enough to book me even though I didn't have a name. So I went home that night and was like, I knew a lot of that's how a lot of people got names was from like song lyrics, and I was like I couldn't think of anything cool at the time, and that was like one of the first ones I heard where I was like reading the lyrics and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I guess I'll just do that. And I talked to like the band and I said, do you want to be called The Only Ocean? And they all said, sure. So we played our first show, and it was always like in the back of my head, like I'm gonna change the name, like this isn't gonna be the name forever.
Right.
And then it just, I think once we released our first thing, I was like, well, I can't change the name now. This is gonna be the name.
Yeah, I like it. And I like that you can shorten it to just the only and
Yeah, I think what's funny is locally, like in Lompoc, um, no one really calls us the Only Ocean. They just call us Only.
okay.
Yeah, or like Ocean.
So it's
So that's
catchy.
yeah.
Do you all still live in Longpoke?
So they're from LA.
Okay.
They're all from LA. I just through knowing Tamara, just and with social media and whatnot, like I was able to stay connected to her and like talk to her, and so yeah, they're all still in LA. I live in Lompoc, My girlfriend lives in Fullerton, which is in Anaheim or
Yeah,
Orange County, and so
that one I know.
I'm kind of like bouncing back and forth from like all three places. So I'm in Lompoc now because it's just a bit easier with the pandemic going on to be here for me.
Yeah.
But without the pandemic going on, I was like spending maybe like 3 or 4 days like in LA and Anaheim or in Fullerton. So I was just kind of bouncing around,
Yeah, sweet.
and it's not that bad of a drive. So it's just, and I have places to stay when I'm down there.
Right. So tell me a little bit about this teaching gig of yours. That's really cool.
Yeah, I work for a music store in Lompoc called Certain Sparks Music, and it's with some of my best friends like in the area. Like one of my friends, he had a recording studio for about maybe 10 years, and the 10th year he moved into a new spot and decided to open up a music store and do music lessons, and he kind of just brought all of us along that were just kind of around the area not doing anything other than playing music.
Yeah.
So we all became teachers. And yeah, it's been really fun. I kind of can make my own hours, and I get paid more than I probably should to do it, but I'm not complaining.
Careful what you say. This recording is gonna stick around.
That's good. No, I mean, he knows. He knows. We always joke about how sweet of a gig it is because we just literally like kind of get to hang out with and talk about music all day. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Through that, how do you feel like music is changing for younger kids who are just starting to engage with it?
the one thing I've learned is like the hits, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and like Green Day and like those kind of like classic
Yeah.
songs. Those are still things that like a kid wants to learn on guitar.
Okay.
It isn't until they get older when they start finding out all these things on their own.
Hmm.
But a lot of that stuff I kind of already listened to anyways. I think a lot of the kids are surprised that like I do know a lot of the artists that they talk about and whatnot. So what I've noticed that they really like is it's a lot of like down tempo and kind of 80 influenced, but I don't think they even realize that it is 80s influenced. I think they just think like, oh, the 1975 made a record that sounded like that, and so now everyone's gonna make a record that sounds like that, and that's kind of what happened. Like the 1975 didn't like their self-titled record. I don't even know what year that came out anymore, but um, that was like a big thing. It seemed like once when that blew up, a lot
Yeah.
of artists were kind of like, oh, I'll kind of follow on that path.
Right. And they're having like a total resurgence right now.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've just noticed stuff like that. It's still like the classics are still there, but there's like this kind of weird, slow, like real depressing kind of sounding stuff that they bring in, which is fine with me because I love that kind of stuff and I kind of already know how to play stuff like that. So it's been fun. I think the thing that trips me out the most isn't music, but is social media
Hmm.
and like what like people they do and don't know. Like I had one student the other day. Um, I'm a massive I grew up with Shia LaBeouf, so it's like seeing him now. It's just like he's I love watching him. Actually, before this, I was watching. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video going around of him taking a COVID test,
I have not seen that.
and it's just like it shouldn't be charming, but it's so charming the way he takes it. He's just has such a natural kind of coolness to him. But anyways, one of my students said, I was like, yeah, I was like, cool, like just do it, just try. And he's like, cool, like the Nike guy. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, just do it like the video. Like me and my friends call him the Nike guy. Like I don't know who that is. And I realized, like, wow, yeah, he's like 12 years old. There's no way he would know who Shia LaBeouf is.
Uh-huh.
So it's things like that where there's certain influencers that they'll talk about where I'm like, I have no idea who the hell you're talking about. I missed that one. I'm on YouTube and Instagram a lot, but they must have been like brand new because I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, it's such a different world. It's like almost unimaginable, but it helps to have that direct line to younger people coming up in music and especially getting a temperature check on what kids are listening to and what they want more of.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That was I wrote the record really before I kind of started connecting more with my students. 'Cause I think when I was at the end of recording it, I had just like got a bunch of them, and it kind of takes a while for kids to kind of really lighten up to you and want to talk.
Sure.
And by the end of it, that's when I realized I was like I had all these other ideas where I was like, wow, okay, like if I do want to make something that sells, this is the direction to go, not what I think is going to sell.
Right. Yeah, it's tough to strike that balance. When did you first start playing music?
When I was 12,
What brought you in?
School of Rock.
The movie?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, I was watching it and just thought like, oh, that seems like I could do that. Like that was really cool. And it wasn't. It was more. I know he. I think last I heard he stole guitars, but Zach Mooneyham. I don't know his
Yes.
actual name.
Yep.
I was like, oh, if he could play guitar, then I can play guitar. And I just got into Green Day, and Green Day is fairly easy to learn how to play. So it was like Green Day and School of Rock were like the two things that I really, really loved. And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have started playing music.
What was your favorite Green Day song?
Oh God.
A favorite.
You asked a hard question.
This is where I stump you.
um, Probably it's the last. I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm
You want to
upset with
sing it?
myself. It's the last song on Nimrod. I think it's like Prehistoric Head. That's the song I love. I love the
Okay.
most. Yeah, that's probably my favorite Green Day song.
Very cool. Awesome. Last question for you today. At Tower Records, we have a saying, it's no music, no life. What does that phrase mean to you?
Um, I would say for me, no music, no life. I mean, given that I am a musician, but even knowing people that aren't musicians, I would say it's just a great outlet um, to kind of lose yourself. There's nothing like the feeling of just driving alone, playing music really loud, and kind of like being in that moment. You can get that with movies, and you can get that with reading, but music does that weird thing to you where it's so short. So if you want to listen to a sad song, you can listen to a sad song for 3 minutes, and you can
Yeah.
get that feeling from that. Or if you want something happy, a movie sometimes the feeling will come like an hour and a half later. And with music, it's so direct and happens so kind of instantly that I think if there wasn't that for me, then who knows? I would probably still be in a bad mood from like 4 years ago. um, so yeah, I think just it being so instant and it can change your emotion, the way you feel so quickly. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, but having that, at least for me, has really helped manage way more than I ever would have been able to.
Yeah. I love that response. That's perfect. I can totally relate to that. All right. Well, I want to make sure you have the last word here. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything else we have to know?
Um, Go vote for our song "Watch It Fall" on K Rock Locals Only, and listen to our song "Watch It Fall,"
Okay.
and stay tuned for the next one. I don't know what the next song is going to be. Maybe I do. I don't know. But stay tuned for the next one. And be good people.
Yes. So you have to follow the band. Follow Lonely Ocean, follow Wesley Hill. Stay tuned. Listen to Watch It Fall. Watch the music video. Vote for it on K Rock. It's fantastic. Congratulations. This has been such a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me. And sorry about the technical difficulties.
that's okay. That's okay. It's just part of the gig, part of the world we're living in right now. Thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing so much with us. And can't wait to hear what's
Thank you.
next.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Stay well. Bye.
Bye.